First tonight in our news weekend, wild weather in eastern New Providence taking down power lines, tearing off roofs and damaging properties. What officials are doing as residents react, plus raising awareness. One organization is aiming to highlight the impact of Alzheimer's and dementia. We'll tell you how, and the Our News team gets a taste of Baha Mar. Our Sasha Lightborn visits Katsuya as the resort launches its Taste of Baha Mar restaurant night. Our News, the weekend edition, starts right now. What began as a passing shower quickly spiraled into chaos for residents in eastern New Providence, from Andros Crescent off Vauxhall Road all the way to Prince Charles Drive. A 1.2-mile trail of destruction was left behind. Utility poles disturbed, power lines down, and trees crashing down on cars. Roofs were ripped away, roads left impassable, and flying debris launched into many homes. The Met Office is calling it a microburst, but for those who lived through it, the sudden violence of the phenomenon looked and felt far more like a tornado. Welcome to Our News, the weekend edition. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Berthany McDermott. The Met Department in a statement this morning looking to clarify Friday night's weather events, saying it was a microburst and not a tornado. But one thing's for sure, it caught many by surprise. Meteorologist Ian McKenzie joins us now. Ian, what can you tell us about what happened last night?
Okay, Berthany, good evening, Bahamas. Well, there was a severe weather warning in place, and we can see that throughout the course of the evening after 8 p.m., that there was a trail of thunderstorms, strong to severe at times, that triggered the phenomenon. Now, some were calling it a tornado, while the Met Office issued a statement saying that it was a microburst. However, the trail of destruction pretty much consistent with both events. Now, the difference is the origin as well as the mechanics involved. But suffice to say, the trail of destruction was severe, and it was pretty much consistent with strong thunderstorms. So despite the semantics, it was a severe weather event, and the discussion will be back and forth, but persons are just devastated pretty much by the level of destruction. And we want to emphasize early warning systems, improve our early warning systems throughout the country. Persons need to know when these events are going to occur so that they can make the necessary preparations. There's a small window for events like this for preparation, but any lead time can help in minimizing or mitigating against such damage.
And Ian, many Bahamians confuse the situation for a tornado. Explain the similarities to us.
Okay, well, for one, the origin of a tornado, normally it can happen over water. Now, looking at the trail of destruction that happened last night, I could see why some persons may have confused it with a tornado, because if they witness, an eyewitness is very important in this case. So you have to be very careful as a professional before you rush to judgment and say exactly if this was A or this was B. But persons don't really care once they have been impacted. Now, in terms of destruction, the roof damage, the strong winds, the downing of the trees, the power lines, both are consistent with each of these phenomena. So it's easy to confuse the two. But you have tornado, they normally stay in contact with the ground as well as with the cloud, whereas a microburst is more of a downward motion that spreads things out. And also the trail. Tornado will normally tend to have a longer trail of destruction versus a microburst, which their trail of destruction can be very small, similar to what happened last night. So those two things, but eyewitnesses are still saying that they saw a funnel cloud. Now that is up for discussion, Berthany.
Thanks again, Ian. We'll check back in with you later on in the newscast. Well, that wild weather leaving many residents in the dark, forcing some to evacuate their homes. Our Joshua Williams was out last night where he witnessed the damage firsthand.
What started off as a seemingly normal thunderstorm turned into a nightmare. Eastern New Providence residents shocked to hear loud rushing wind, sounds similar to explosions, they say, and with flashing lightning seemingly every second. The aftermath: trees split down the middle, utility poles blown over lying in the road. When I arrived on Fox Hill Road south of Checkers, cars remained in the rain, stuck, trying to cross the road blocked by utility lines stretched across. By this point, the entire area was in darkness. A walk further down to Checkers restaurant revealed debris scattered across the yard. The canopy over the drive-thru window twisted. Walking onto Joe Farrington Road near a shopping plaza, a coconut tree had fallen across the road, blocking the flow of traffic. Neighbors using cutlasses to chop it while waiting on response crews.
I saw it spraying and I saw some wind picking up. And I say, Lord, look like I'm trapped in this weather. I says, I'm here alone. I need your help. I say, Lord, please. I say, cover me in this. And as I step out of the trailer, because I saw the lightning flashing, and I say, Lord, I say, I got to get out of here because this is tin and I don't want to get electrocuted in here. So I came out, and as I came out, the wind just picked up even more like it was a tornado I was trapped in. And I held on the back of the trailer and everything just break apart. And it was the scariest day of my life.
My camera operator Taran Knowles and I ventured through several side corners where we witnessed more damage. We saw several yards with downed trees, many of them falling on cars, totally destroying them. Neighbors outside looking at roofs, sections of them caving in on some houses, others losing shingles. One resident telling me parts of the roof of a convenience store you can see here was flung all the way across the road. A huge automatic gate thrown from a wall into a yard nearby. Our news production supervisor Taran Knowles also capturing drone footage showing a clear path of destruction that begins at Andros Crescent, moving north to the Fox Hill and Joe Farrington Road intersection. However, this resident told me this was the worst he's ever seen it.
All the wind was coming to the house, so we tried so quickly to try to close the windows and everything, and then the lights went off, and then I heard a big boom. And I heard glass breaking and trees falling down. I don't know what's going on.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks, Joshua. And the morning sunrise reveals even more of the distressing aftermath of last night's bizarre weather. Bahamas Power and Light was out surveying the impacted communities. Our Danielle Miller was there.
It could have been reporting something different. Your children could have heard something different.
Yeah, they would have been screaming this morning because it wouldn't have been no me. I thought the world had ended.
That's resident Sheena Bethel. Grateful to be alive Saturday morning after severe weather in eastern New Providence left many residents shaken overnight. In the Joe Farrington Road area, just after 8 a.m., our news team witnessed destruction of varying degrees, from vehicles damaged by fallen trees to the roofs of homes thrown throughout various yards. Dozens of Bahamas Power and Light trucks also flooded streets. Some residents and business owners began moving tree branches from their yards, while others spent the morning salvaging items. These residents describing last night's events as tornadic activity.
From last night we were outside, we saw all the damage, but we concerning because of how significant it was because it was so dark, there was no current, so we was able to see everything. So when I got up, it was devastating.
This is the first time in my life living in the Bahamas experiencing such a trauma in terms of the weather. I've weathered hurricanes, but not this type tornado weather.
The current is off. I'm using cordless machines. Life goes on. People want their haircuts.
Chief Operations Officer for Bahamas Power and Light, Anthony Christie, told the media today during a press briefing that they plan to restore power to the area as soon as possible.
I would say, about 50 or more people on the road. We have a lot of trucks, a lot of equipment on the road. So again, everyone who's available have been working since last night to now. I have people who they never went to sleep overnight, so they've been working almost a full day.
Now, officials from the Department of Meteorology releasing a statement noting that based on radar, lightning, and wind data, Friday night's event was not exactly a tornado, but most consistent with a microburst. Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
Thanks, Danielle. Well, in the wake of Friday night's microburst, Seabreeze Member of Parliament Leslie Miller Bryce and Elizabeth MP JoBeth Colby Davis conducting a walkabout through the area this morning, assessing the damage and speaking with residents. The parliamentarians noting that Minister of Housing and Urban Development Keith Bell has confirmed that Urban Renewal will be stepping in to assist. Miller Bryce says she's thankful no lives were lost while reaffirming her support for constituents. She's also asking them to be patient as BPL restores power to the area.
The team is here. BPL is here, and they're working as fast as they can, but it's a lot of damage. So we can't take the damage for granted. It's a lot of damage, and so they're doing their best. I've seen at least 15 trucks on the ground. So everyone from BPL is clearly reported to work this morning, and so I want to say thank you to Minister Joe Beth just for ensuring that electricity is restored.
Colby Davis also commending BPL for their diligence. She says although last night's weather event was unpredictable, it did not catch her and her team off guard.
This is really something that has been a shock, but it's nothing that you don't already begin to have an idea of how you want to respond. And so because we've been consistent in the area, our response from my Elizabeth team has been excellent.
And we are following tragic news out of Exuma tonight. Police on that island are investigating a traffic fatality in Ramsey involving a motorcycle. Shortly after 7:30 this morning, officers arrived at the scene and found an unresponsive man lying on the ground near a utility pole. A motorcycle was found not too far from the man. Medical personnel examined the victim at the scene and pronounced him dead. The Air Accident Investigation Authority amending the findings section of the report detailing what happened in that September 12, 2024 crash off New Providence that killed 2 people. The newly released report says at 2:24 p.m., the pilot advised NASA Approach Control that he could not land at San Andros Airport and that he would return to the Linden-Pindling International Airport. At 2:28 p.m., the pilot advised NASA Approach Control of engine problems. At 2:30 p.m., the pilot declared a full emergency with NASA Approach Control after observing loss of power to both engines. The passengers were informed of the emergency situation, and the pilot in command ensured that all occupants donned their life vests. At 2:34 p.m., a pilot nearby inquired with the commanding pilot of the aircraft if he had feathered the prop. The pilot in command responded, "It ain't shut off yet, it's still windmilling." When our news weekend comes back from the break, good news for residents of Andros. 1 week after a fire ravaged a power station there, BPL officials provide an update. Plus, what the Sunshine Pilot Club of Nassau wants you to know about Alzheimer's awareness, we have the details when our news weekend returns.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me and you, and I say to myself, what a wonderful
Bahamas Power and Light Regional Manager Marvin Green giving an update on the situation in Andros 1 week after a fire ravaged a power station there. Fire damaged equipment at the Fresh Creek Andros Power Station on August 31st, ending in a loss of power for all residential customers in the area. Power was restored to Central Andros and Burren Point, but commercial customers remained without power. Speaking at the office of the Prime Minister's weekly press briefing, Northern Regional Manager Marvin Green admits there were some challenges.
And within 24 hours, we had, I would say, 90% of the customers back on the grid, feeding from the north plant. We did have some challenges where in the far south, we had some challenges with low voltage and things like that. We were able to rectify that. And then within 30 to 36 hours, we had everyone back on the grid.
Technicians from New Providence were sent to Andros to complete repairs. Green said the plant suffered loss of transformers, some switchgears, as well as a number of material and parts.
We also lost some portions of the building and some of the electrical on the inside. But we were able to get those units shipped in fairly quickly.
Around the world, the month of September is recognized as Alzheimer's Awareness Month. Here at home, one organization is doing its part to raise awareness by using a popular fashion accessory to support the cause. Daniel Miller has the details tonight.
This purple wristband is courtesy of the Sunshine Pilot Club of Nassau, and it was meant to spark a conversation around a disease that affects millions of people.
Alzheimer's disease is the most common cause of dementia, affecting 24 million people globally, according to reports published by the Cleveland Clinic. The neurodegenerative disease currently has no cure, leaving 1 in every 10 people older than 65 and their families treating symptoms for the rest of their lives. This was the reality of Sunshine Pilot Club of Nassau's president, Deanne Johnson.
My adopted mom, it was exhausting to see her change from somebody that was vibrant and life-giving to somebody that didn't recognize who I was.
In honor of Johnson's adopted mother and all those that are diagnosed with the disease, the Sunshine Pilot Club is joining international groups on September 21st to recognize World Alzheimer's Awareness Day. Project coordinator for Sunshine Pilot Club says in preparation for the global event, they are selling wristbands to not only raise awareness, but also as a fundraising initiative.
What we are planning on doing with the monies raised from this awareness initiative is to purchase sensory blankets and fidget toys for Alzheimer's patients.
To support the cause, bands can be purchased for a cost of $5 at Genesis Dental or contacting 242-424-3877.
We ordered 500 bands, and even though we say it's a minimum $5 donation, some people have been very generous so far. We have one person who donated $200. Then another person WhatsApped me and said that he would donate $50. So $5 is the minimum, and we're encouraging persons to aim high.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
Thanks, Danielle. Well, still to come on Our News Weekend, anime fans nationwide got the answer they've been waiting for months as a highly anticipated movie hits theaters in Nassau. Plus,
JJ and the New York Liberty are in the playoffs. We preview their matchup and we talk baseball next on Our Sports Weekend.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me and you. And I say to myself, what a wonderful.
Good evening, welcome to Our Sports Weekend. I'm Tage Adderley. Jonquel Jones and the New York Liberty are headed to the WNBA playoffs in a couple of days. Let's take a look at their matchup. Jonquel Jones and the New York Liberty enter this matchup the heavy favorite as the 5th overall seed in the WNBA, amassing a 27-17 record, good for second place in the East against her former team, the 11th-seeded Connecticut Sun, who went 11-23. He scored 13 points per game and led the team with 8 rebounds on the season. She missed 9 games with an ankle injury. The team was led in scoring by former MVP Breanna Stewart, who averaged 18 points and grabbed 6.5 rebounds. They'll go up against veteran center Tina Charles, who's 14 seasons into her career. She led her team in scoring with 16 a game. They'll try to get the upset against the defending champs. Now, this series starts tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m., so you can take a break from football and check out JJ as he tries to go for another Finals MVP. Now we're over to the Diamond to see how our guys did last night. Jazz Chisholm and the New York Yankees picked up a big win last night, beating their heated division rival, the Boston Red Sox, 4-1. Jazz went 2 for 4 with a couple of singles, and he stole his 30th base of the year. The win put the Yankees 1 game ahead of the Sox for the lead in the wild card race. Coach Anton Richardson and the New York Mets took a 7-3 loss to the Texas Rangers. And down in the minors, the Texas Rangers prospect Sebastian Walcott continued his outstanding season. He went 2 for 5 with 2 singles, and he scored 2 runs to help his AA Frisco Rough Riders get a 12-7 win over the Northwest Arkansas Naturals. And Christian Robertson went 1 for 5 with a single. His Reno Aces lost 10-3 to the Las Vegas Aviators. And they're all playing tonight, so we'll recap those games tomorrow. We'll also tell you who to keep an eye on as our athletes prepare for the World Athletics Games, which is set to begin on Monday. Until then, I'm Tage Adderley, and this is Our Sports Weekend. I'll see you again tomorrow night.
Thanks, Tage. When we come back from the break, our Sasha Lightborn shares a weekend dining option at Baha Mar that promises to serve top-of-the-line cuisine. That's coming up when our News Weekend returns.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me and you, and I say to myself, what a wonderful
Welcome back to our News Weekend. A rainy past few weeks across multiple islands. Ian McKenzie is back with your weekend forecast. Ian.
Thanks, Berthany, and good evening again, Bahamas. Currently outside our studios, we're under intermittent clouds with a temperature of 83. Feels like very warm at 92. Winds are from the north-northwest at 6 miles per hour. Temperatures across the country, you have 80 in Freeport, 81 in Marsh Harbor, 82s in Allenstown, Nicholstown, Great Harbor Key, 83 in the capital, and 84 in Governor's Harbor. Central Bahamas continue with those 84s in Kemps Bay, Black Point, Arthurstown, and in Deadman's Key, Long Island, 83 in Coburn Town, 82 in Port Nelson, 85 in Georgetown, Exuma. Southeast Bahamas, 85 again in Duncantown, 82 in Colonel Hill, a pair of 83s in Delectable Bay and Abrahams Bay, Mequona, 84 in Matthewtown, 87 in Providenciales, Turks and Caicos. Satellite and radar imagery at this time, we still have this stall frontal boundary that's producing some unsettled weather across our areas, weakened somewhat, but we still have some showers and isolated thunderstorms associated with it. This should continue through tomorrow. In the tropics at this time, the National Hurricane Center is watching an area of the tropical wave expected to continue to move towards the west and eventually towards the northwest. This system has about a 50% chance for possible development over the next 7 days, so we will keep our eyes closely on that. Taking a look now at our boating forecasts across all areas. Gorgeous boating conditions, safe for those showers and isolated thunderstorms. We're looking at winds variable at 5 to 10 knots. Seas only running 1 to 3 feet over the ocean. High tide at 1:22 a.m. tomorrow morning. Low tide at 7:33 a.m. tomorrow morning as well. In your extended forecast, some showers still hanging around tomorrow, some gradual clearing through about midweek. Showers return again into the end of the week, so we're going to continue to monitor the progress of any systems as well as showers and thunderstorms throughout the course of the week. Highs only getting into the upper 80s, low 90s, and your low temperatures are creeping back into those mid 70s to upper 70s. That's a wrap in the evening forecast. Make it a great, safe one night, everyone.
Thanks again, Ian. Anime fans nationwide have been waiting with bated breath since July, wondering if they would have the chance to watch the Demon Slayer finale in theaters. On Thursday, their hopes were realized when Fusion Superplex announced tickets were on sale for the fourth movie in the series, Infinity Castle Part 1, Akaza Returns. Last February, the Bahamas Films and Plays Control Board gave the previous film in the series, Hashira Training, a D rating, making it unsuitable for public viewing. Infinity Castle has received a C rating, meaning persons 18 and older can watch it. Fusion Sales and Marketing Assistant Directors Anastasia Carter.
So to say that we were certainly disappointed last year is an understatement. There's quite a number of financial commitments that go into bringing films such as Demon Slayer to our facility. So the film board's rating really, knocked us back. We were disheartened. Very much so. We were displeased with the ruling, but this year we are excited to let the public know that tickets are on sale for Demon Slayer. We are excited to have everyone come out, not just to support the business, but to overall have a grand time watching a film that we all love.
Baha Mar has launched its Taste of Baha Mar restaurants. It's a brand new culinary celebration taking place at eateries across the resort this month. In this week's edition of Arts and Entertainment, our Sasha Lightborn got a sneak peek last night when she visited Katsuya.
For the first time, guests and locals have been selected to enjoy specially curated 3-course menus at some of Baha Mar's most celebrated restaurants. They're calling it a Taste of Baha Mar, and I had the chance to get an on-hand taste of the experience. My choice? Katsuya, a staple restaurant in the Grand Hyatt property at Baha Mar, serving up 5-star Japanese cuisine. And we were in for a treat, joined by social media influencer Kedar Clark and Nassau Guardian digital editor Christelle Brown. A 4-course meal was what waited for us. That was course 1, crispy Brussels sprouts, salmon tataki, and a green salad. Now that was followed by the second course, truffle chicken gyoza, vegetable roll, and spicy tuna crispy rice. And then it was time for the main course.
Now Kevin is going to tell me exactly what's in this third course. Kevin, what do we have?
So the third course is going to be the yaki udon vegetable noodles. We have the salmon teriyaki. And we also have our specialty Katsuya fried chicken with a side of sweet chili sauce.
Now, no meal can be complete without dessert, and for us, Katsuya served up a decadent and rich chocolate lava cake with matcha ice cream. Dining with us throughout the evening was Baha Mar's sales and marketing director Nadia Bo, who shared with me why the resort decided to put on this culinary initiative.
September is usually a time of the year where we see a lot of locals come to the property, either for dining, having fun, or even staycations. And so we thought to ourselves, what can we do to enhance local attraction?
And here's how you can get your very own taste.
All you need to do is actually book a reservation as you would do normally on our website, which is bahamar.com. You head on over to the culinary experiences and you go ahead and book an actual reservation to the restaurant of your choice.
Now you can take advantage of these curated experiences throughout the month of September. Reporting from Katsuya from Baha Mar, I'm Sasha Lightburn.
Thanks, Sasha, and thank you for joining us for our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Berthany McDermott. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Make it a great evening, everyone.
Hey guys, Megan Shepherd here. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Just click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so you stay up to date with content like this from the team you already trust.